Keegan Murray is nearing a return, and the Sacramento Kings are desperate to have him back. But as much as we all love Keegan, I think we know he's not saving this sinking season. How should the Sacramento Kings use Keegan when he returns? I have a short-term and long-term plan that I need to see for you right here on Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all season long. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News. Lots to get into today. A report from James Ham yesterday about Keegan Murray's status and him getting closer to a return when he is expected to actually suit up and play for the Kings. I'll share with you the short-term plan that probably we will see over the next few weeks, the first handful of games that Keegan plays. The long-term plan that I need to see, the way I want to see the Sacramento Kings use Keegan after he gets reacclimated into the NBA and gets comfortable playing the NBA game and at NBA speed again. And then at the end of this podcast, I threw out basically an open invite to all of our Locked On NBA hosts. I basically said, hey, view the Sacramento Kings as a fire sale. Everything is available for trade. This isn't actually the case, or well, it might be the case. The fire sale, I doubt. But I said, if you have like a trade offer in mind of what you would make for a player on the Kings, doesn't matter if I would accept it or not, just send it to me. And the idea is to get a gauge of how much or what the value is for the players that the Kings have in the eyes of other Locked On hosts and other teams around the league. So I have a few trades, 3 trades that I'm going to share with you, offers that I got from different Locked On hosts. I got one from the Warriors, got one from the Grizzlies, and got one from the Magic that I'm excited to share with you. That's coming up at the end of the podcast. But we begin with Keegan Murray. James Ham from ESPN 1320's The Insiders and the Kings Beat podcast reported yesterday that the Kings have assigned Keegan to the Stockton Kings in the G League. That's essentially him going down there, practicing, working with the team because he has been fully cleared for 5-on-5 contact activities. Essentially, that clearance means that he's good to go. He's good to return to basketball activities. He's good to play. And the good news is that even though Keegan's been out for the last month and some change, it doesn't mean that he's just been sitting on his couch twiddling his thumbs or only able to do like the exercise bike or something until he was able to return. Thankfully, because it was just a hand injury and a hand surgery, like he was able to get shots up, get his cardio in, still be working in the practice facility, still be working with Kings coaches. So it's not that he's ready to just run right back in headfirst in NBA action and play like nothing has happened. He still needs to work his way back into the NBA game shape, but he's at least not like starting fresh or starting from ground zero. So that's encouraging. That's probably one of the reasons why he will potentially be back as early as the end of this week. According to James, Keegan will join the team in Oklahoma City tomorrow. That does not mean, it doesn't sound like he's expected to actually play against the Thunder tomorrow. James says that he will, or he's expected to have his season debut, or the Kings are hoping he will have his season debut on the back end of the road trip, which is either the game against the Memphis Grizzlies or the final game of the road trip against the Denver Nuggets. But it sounds like for sure Keegan Murray will be good to go. He will be able to play when the Kings are back in Sacramento. He will be playing when the Kings are back in Sacramento for that homestand. Now, I unfortunately will be missing at least a couple of those games. I'm heading out on vacation with my family towards the end of this week. I'll talk about that more and the impact that that's going to have on the podcast later on down the road, because you don't care about that right now. What you care about is Keegan Murray. And we need to have like realistic hopes for Keegan's return. I put out on social media kind of as a joke, being my normal corny self. I posted a GIF of Keegan after this news came out yesterday of him smiling, and I just said, "Save us," right? Knowing full well that like that's not who Keegan is as a player. He's never really been that. So Keegan Murray coming back is not all of a sudden going to revive this Kings team and completely turn around their 3-11 season at this point. It's just not going to happen. And it's not a bash on Keegan in any way to say that, because they're outside of a generational superstar. I don't know what player could fix what one player could do to fix this awful Kings roster that they've assembled, just completely disjointed roster. But Keegan has an opportunity to continue to prove how essential he is to this Kings team. I mean, he's already proven it just by his absence, right? Like, he so heavily has impacted winning over his time here in Sacramento that his absence is, we've seen the effect of his absence, right? And we've already seen that his camp has done a fantastic job, or did a fantastic job, of leveraging the Kings situation plus who Keegan Murray is as a player to get Keegan that 5-year, $140 million contract extension that he signed before the season even started. And remember, he signed that contract after he had gotten hurt and needed surgery. The Kings still paid him because they needed to, and his camp did a good job with that. By the way, just so you know, full context, that contract doesn't kick in until next season. So this year, he's still technically playing on the final year of his rookie scale contract at $11.1 million. Next year, he'll make $24.1 million. So we don't need to start screaming and judging him based off of, you got paid a big contract, now you're a $24 million per year player. He's technically not there yet, but I mean, that's just semantics if you really care about that. It's definitely not a coincidence that the Kings are 3-11 with Keegan Murray being out. That being said, if Keegan had played in all of these first 14 games, would the Sacramento Kings be better? Yes, I believe. I think they would have won a handful of more games, but not substantially, significantly better, or like, wow, this team's completely different with Keegan Murray on the floor. When he returns, I do expect there to be a noticeable impact, a noticeable difference, simply because of, one, the complete lack of depth at his position, and two, how much of the load, the responsibility he carries on the defensive end, and even as a rebounder, right? Those two things the Kings have been severely lacking in with Keegan Murray's absence. I expect him to have a positive impact on those immediately, as well as the spacing on the offensive side of the floor. There's a short-term plan, or in my mind, there's a short-term plan and then a long-term plan of how Keegan needs to be used. The short-term plan is pretty simple. Play him the way that you initially imagined playing him, right? You worked with that OG starting 5 all training camp long. I want to see the Kings go back to it. And it's not meant to be any kind of demotion for Russell Westbrook, and you might get mad at me at the comments about this, but go back to the starting 5 you initially had. Put Dennis Schroeder back out there at the point guard position with LaVine, DeRozan, Keegan at the 4, Domantas Sabonis at the 5. Go back to what you initially intended to do and see what it looks like at the NBA, in a real meaningful NBA game, not just preseason games. Like, just take a look, see it. This fits in perfectly. This like short-term plan almost fits in perfectly with the same kind of evaluation phase of the Kings that I was talking a lot about when I was laying out for you the plan for the Kings front office and what they're trying to do this season. Like, plug him back in and play as if this is game 1 of the season and nothing's happened. The record is 0-0, and get Keegan comfortable in that original 3-and-D role that you had for him. Now, remember, this is the short-term plan. This is not the long-term plan that needs to happen. I'm talking about do this for the next few weeks. Do this for the next 10 games and just see specifically how Keegan looks as he gets back in NBA shape and how he impacts the main pieces around him. How does he positively or negatively impact Zach LaVine? How does he positively or negatively impact Domantas Sabonis? Sabonis has been pretty much the main threat that the Kings have attacking the rim, and teams defensively are packing the paint and daring Sacramento to beat them from three-point range because they don't have enough consistent three-point shooting. Keegan being a good three-point shooter. him being out on the perimeter should help the spacing and should allow you to punish defenses a little bit more for packing the paint so much. And maybe that opens up opportunities to score for Domantas Sabonis, or that gets Domantas Sabonis' assist numbers back up because he has more of a threat on the perimeter to kick out to when the defense collapses. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but that's an example of something that we could see simply from Keegan Murray just being back onto the floor. See how he helps the defense, because he will. See how he helps the rebounding, because he should. And see how he helps the offensive spacing and how the other main pieces around him benefit or don't benefit from playing with him. Because that's going to be important context with you when you go into the second phase of the rebuild, which is starting to make moves and make trades. Maybe it doesn't look any better with any of these guys. Okay, well, we already feel like we have to trade a lot of them anyways. Now we really feel confident that we can trade them. And by the way, full context, like there is no untouchable piece on this Kings roster. There's not. The Kings are a terrible team. So every player should be and is available for trade. That being said, I think Keegan Murray's at the top of the list of players that the Kings would most likely not want to trade. And he's also going to be one of the guys that the Kings probably get the most phone calls about. So I don't expect the Kings to trade Keegan Murray, but him playing with these starters, with these main pieces, should give us more context of, yeah, it really is just never going to work with DeRozan, or the Zach LaVine thing's not going to work, or yeah, Malik Monk off the bench, it just ain't working. Okay, you can trade these pieces, right? It's all about just getting that context and getting Keegan comfortable over the next 10 to 15 games. After that, though, the Kings need to go into the long-term plan of how to use Keegan Murray. This needs to happen for the remainder of the season. I'll share with you what that is here in just a second. This episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's SAD. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Rippling removes the bottlenecks and busy work that slows your team down. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously super simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything that they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill in the gaps of your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's rippling.com/lockedonnba for 6 months free. Locked On Kings is also brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere that Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I've been using Prize Picks on NFL Sundays for specifically just football action, combining an NFL Sunday action with an NBA slate of games on a Sunday. I do specific Prize Picks lineups for Kings games, like just them and their opponents. So it's all based around one game. There's so many ways to play. And they have a new thing this year called the Stacks feature. This is a game changer. It's already made me quite the profit. You can now pick more on multiple different stats for the same player, like Steph Curry's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. So if you think one player is going to have a big game, you can ride that hot hand as far as possible to make you as much money as possible. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves your lineup from a loss. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So here's my long-term plan for Keegan Murray's return that needs to happen. This is how, after the first 10 or 15 games of getting him in that normal role and seeing how it impacts everybody and how maybe the season would have looked to this point had he actually been healthy. Once you get that context, before the trades happen, like don't just wait till after the trade deadline to move a few pieces. This should happen before trades begin, unless the Kings somehow have a miracle turnaround that I just don't think is going to happen. Unless Keegan Murray's return unlocks this team and they rattle off like a 10-game win streak and everything just starts to finally click in that specific role, I need the Kings to feature Keegan Murray more. Now, what does that look like? What does featuring Keegan Murray more look like? It's not give him the ball and get out of the way. Make sure you understand that. This Kings team already plays too much your turn, my turn, isolation basketball as it is. And we know Keegan Murray doesn't really have an ISO bag. He doesn't. And that's not a bad thing in my mind. We have a number of ISO-centric players on this roster. And that's good under specific circumstances, but not this Kings circumstance. We've seen this roster offensively does not work well together. Keegan Murray, the way Keegan Murray is best used, in my opinion, is as a player that runs and plays in the flow of the offense. So featuring Keegan Murray more doesn't mean just giving him the basketball and again, getting out of the way and letting him chuck up shots and try and create for himself. You'd like to see him do that from time to time, whether it's late in the shot clock or at the end of a quarter or whatever. He'll get those opportunities or should get those opportunities, but we're talking every once in a while, not primarily. The way I want to see the Kings use Keegan Murray is consistently and efficiently run him off of screens, both on the ball and off the ball. Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis should be together a lot of the time. Run him off of screens. Make it essential to open up open looks for Keegan on a nightly basis. Make it consistent. Even if defenses know you're going to do it, I don't care. Make it a primary, not the primary, the number one way you operate, because other guys have to touch the ball. Keegan or Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, they're still all on this roster. So I'm not saying, hey, ignore everybody and Keegan takes 25 shots a game. That's not realistic. But do not, after 10 to 15 games of getting him comfortable, do not give Keegan Murray the Harrison Barnes treatment of your job is to stand on the corner or stand on the wing and open up space for the other guys to operate. No. The other guys need to be put in certain situations where Keegan Murray can operate. Get Keegan Murray minimum back to the 12 field goal attempts per game that he had in his second season, which was the most on the team, or most in his career. Wasn't the most on the team, but the most in his career. He had, I think, 10 attempts per game his rookie year, jumped up to 12, and then dropped back down to like 9 or 10 last season. Get him minimum back up to 12. I want to see Keegan Murray getting a lot of looks. Of course, some of this is on him too. Doug Christie has talked about Keegan hunting shots and hunting the right shots and getting himself open. Keegan has a responsibility to this too. But I want to see the Sacramento Kings making it a priority for the remainder of this season after he gets reacclimated, whether or not they trade away some of the top guys. Feature getting Keegan Murray open looks. Get him a lot of shots. You say you want Keegan Murray to take 10 threes a game. Help him do that. Don't just expect him to take 10 threes a game by reacting to the defense and expecting DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine or Domantas Sabonis just to pass him the ball every time. That's not who they are. Well, Sabonis is. He's not doing it this year, but Sabonis is that kind of guy. But not LaVine, not really DeRozan. Like, feature Keegan Murray on offense. Get him 12-plus field goal attempts per game. I do not truly care about percentages that much. Like, if Keegan's struggling to shoot the basketball, like, the Kings are losing basketball games anyway. Like, if he starts out and he's, for the first 2 months, shooting 32, 33% from three-point range, keep going to it. Keep going the entire season, the remainder of the season. Keep going. And again, he's not the only guy that's going to be shooting. He's not going to be the only guy touching the basketball. I want to see later in the season, Nick Clifford get good opportunities. Keon Ellis, when he's out there, get opportunities. The guys that you think are going to be a part of your long-term plan, get all of them opportunities. But Keegan needs to be towards the top of that list. Whatever the percentage is, keep shooting. Keep giving him those looks. Encourage him to also run off some screens and roll to the basket, attack the rim, try and get to the foul line. All of this. Give Keegan the opportunity, one last opportunity to show that he can be a featured scorer. Never your top scorer, never an all-star level scorer, but a featured offensive piece. That's what the Kings need. Because if they're looking towards the future and what they have to build around, it's Keegan Murray, and that's kind of it right now. So don't waste his time. He's already an older rookie scale player. At the end of his 5-year deal that he just signed, y'all, he's going to be 30. So don't waste time. You're a bad basketball team now. You're not going anywhere. Give Keegan the opportunity to win you some basketball games and show he's got that side. Here's the shot attempt breakdown right now for the Kings. Zach LaVine is averaging 15 field goal attempts per game. DeRozan, 14. Sabonis, 13. Westbrook and Schroeder at 11. Malik Monk at 10. Nobody else is above 5. I need to see Keegan in the top 3, minimum. I don't care who he's kicking out. I don't care who he's taking shots from. The answer should be all of them. But Keegan Murray needs to be in the top 3 of field goal attempts for the remainder of the season. Take 2 attempts away from DeRozan. Take 2 attempts away from LaVine, 2 attempts away from Sabonis. Take 2 attempts away from all those guys. That's 12 field goal attempts right there. Not to mention the other guys that each have like 5. Sorry, Drew Eubanks. Maybe you don't need to be shooting as much. Like, that's what they need to do. Feature Keegan Murray. Use this time wisely. Don't waste it. It's already going to be a really, really long remainder of the season. Might as well make it productive in some way, shape, or form. This episode of Locked On Kings is also brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opponent, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. And finally, Locked On Kings is brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be honest. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers the fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit Rugiet, spelled RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. Again, that's Rugiet, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know that we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. So again, I threw out a call to all of our Locked On NBA hosts, and I said, hey, this Sacramento Kings team sucks. We've known this. Their roster. Send me trade offers for anybody and everybody on this roster that you would be interested in. Realistic trade offers. If you think your team would be interested in any of these players, send me an offer that you think would make sense, that would fit. A lot of I told them I didn't care if I would or wouldn't accept these offers. The idea behind this is to get an understanding of what other teams and other Locked On hosts, local experts, how they value the pieces that the Kings have and what, in theory, the Kings could get in return for those pieces. So I have 3 trades for you. Kind of a fourth, although it didn't really work out. The 4th trade was from David Locke of the Locked On Jazz podcast, basically said like Walker Kessler for Domantas Sabonis, which financially doesn't work, but you get kind of the idea of Kings get a younger center in Walker Kessler who's hurt. Jazz get Domantas Sabonis, but I'm not including that one. I have 3 trades, actual offers that I got from other Locked On hosts. One from the Warriors, one from the Grizzlies, one from the Magic. I'm going to share them with you. You might not like any of them. You might like all of them. Let me know if you would do any of these deals. The first trade is with the Golden State Warriors, who in this deal would get Domantas Sabonis, which is so funny for so many reasons if Sabonis were to become a Warrior. The Kings in this deal get Jonathan Kuminga, Podziemski, Moses Moody, and a first-round pick. If I'm being honest with you, as much as it would, I guess, stink to send Domantas Sabonis to your quote-unquote rival, although I don't think the Warriors look at the Kings as a rival at all, and considering how funny it was that Sabonis was like public enemy number 1 in Golden State after that playoff series, and he would be teammates with the guy that stomped on his chest and Draymond Green, who went on his podcast and said he had no respect for Domantas Sabonis. Now they're teammates. It'd be funny for so many reasons. But if you were to tell me, like, Matt, this is a legitimate offer from the Warriors, again, Jonathan Kuminga, Pods, Moody, and a first-round pick for Domantas Sabonis, I'm taking this deal in a heartbeat. I'm taking it in a heartbeat. I don't think it would really ever happen, but that was an offer, not from me. That was an offer from the Locked On Warriors podcast. From the Memphis Grizzlies, the Grizzlies in this deal would get Malik Monk and Keon Ellis, 2 fan favorites. The Kings would get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Gigi Jackson, a first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. So you give up 2 kind of exciting second-unit players, bring KCP back, Gigi Jackson, who's a player that I know Kings fans like, a first-round pick, 2 seconds. Not so thrilled about this trade, but maybe this is a ballpark kind of what you could expect in return for those guys. And finally, the Orlando Magic, my guy Philip Rossman-Reich, who has been a fan of Malik Monk for a while and has been always trying to get Malik Monk on the Magic. He asked for Malik Monk and Devin Carter for Jonathan Isaac and Anthony Black. Not a big fan of that move either, but again, this might be another move that kind of opens your eyes to what kind of expectations the Kings could get in return. So there are the 3 deals. Again, Sabonis to the Warriors for Kuminga, Pods, Moody, and a first-round pick. Malik Monk and Keon Ellis to the Grizzlies for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Gigi Jackson, a first and 2 seconds. And Malik Monk and Devin Carter to the Orlando Magic for Jonathan Isaac and Anthony Black. Those are the offers that I got from 3 different Locked On hosts. You want to share your thoughts on any of those? Would you accept any of those? Let me know. Plus, I want to hear your thoughts on Keegan Murray, my short-term and long-term plans for Keegan Murray. How do you want to see Keegan Murray used when he returns? Would you even trade? Would you trade Keegan Murray, if we're being honest? Let's talk about it. At Matt George Sack on Twitter. Email me, mattgeorgesports@gmail.com. Leave your thoughts in the YouTube comment section down below. Appreciate your support as always. I will have a post-game podcast for you for both the Thunder and the Grizzlies games coming up tomorrow and Thursday. I think the Kings play the Grizzlies on Thursday, second night of a back-to-back. Yep. So I will have post-game pods after both of those. I plan on having some sort of podcast for you on Friday, hopefully with a guest. I'm working on that. After that, on Saturday, I leave on a vacation. My family and I are going to Disneyland for a few days, taking my son to Disneyland. I will return from Disneyland on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The Kings host the Phoenix Suns that night. The plan is I'm not going to be going to that game, but I will watch it from home, and I will still do a post-game podcast after that. So that means no post-game podcast for the Nuggets game, no post-game podcast for the Timberwolves home game. So I apologize that I'm usually very diligent about having post-game podcasts after every single game. This is the only time that my family could get away for a little bit of vacation. So I'm taking it. I'll share more information and more of an update on that when I have it, but just putting it on your radar. No matter what, I appreciate your support as always. Can't wait to have you join me on the next episode of Locked On Kings. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to the Locked On Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.